A memorial service for radio and television broadcaster Pearl Shongwe is underway at the SABC head offices in Auckland Park. Friends and colleagues have gathered to pay tribute to Shongwe. She passed away in her sleep at her Polo Fields apartment in Midrand, Johannesburg last week. The Metro FM news anchor also presented sports on SABC's 404 News channel and morning live weekends. A much-loved face on SABC2, Shongwe was also a finalist in the Miss Soweto pageant in 2011. The funeral service will be held in Diepkloof on Saturday. All right, let's now cross to Mbalenhle Mthethwa, who is at the memorial service for us. She's at Radio Park here at SABC. Very good afternoon to you, Mbalenhle. Of course, we've heard from family, friends, colleagues. A somber day. I can see you're sad yourself at this point, as are many of us here in the building. Talk to us about, what's being said and really the mood really, and obviously it's a somber one, but just talk to us about, obviously it's a celebration of life as well, as we are here at SABC.
Well, Flo, what I can definitely tell you is that people somewhat came in their numbers to come and, pay their tribute to Pearl, and also just pay their condolences, pass their messages of condolences to friends and family who gathered here. It was a full room here, and people came, as I said, people came in their numbers. Some of the people who are here, I'm just going to ask my camera colleague to pan just to show you some of the people who are here. We've got sports supporters who have come to show their support as people who watched Pearl presenting sports programs on the SABC platform. We've also got author and Ndebele author Thando Mahlangu, who came here to also pay his respects to Pearl Shongwe. Now, some of the things that have been said is that, Pearl's passing is a loss to the broadcasting as a whole, and also to South African youth. And as you can see, the impact that she has made in the lives of many who have seen her on our screens and those who have heard her on the different radio platforms. Now, I'm joined by some of her colleagues. One of them is Osimpiwe. You know him very well. He worked with Pearl on Morning Live. I mean, this is a very sad day for a lot of people and a lot of us in the broadcasting industry. How will you remember Pearl?
Mbali, today is exactly 8 days since we learned of the passing of the Black Pearl, of the lovely, the wonderful Pearl Shongwe. And I'm finding it incredibly difficult to accept that she really is gone. But I quite like what the pastor said earlier on in the memorial service that's just ended, that, life is like a vapor, a vapor that transcends to a liquid, which means it transcends to a different form. So Pearl is definitely with us today. She was at the memorial service. I know that she is part of us watching this interview right now, which is that she cannot talk back. She cannot let out that infectious laughter. But it really is a difficult moment, not just for the family, not just for the colleagues, but for the entire country, for the entire broadcasting and media industry at large. You described her earlier as a work wife. Talk to us about your relationship on off air. Oh yes, she was more than just my work wife, but she was my sister, a baby sister, and a friend and a confidant that we'd share our problems with. And I know that just last week she told me that she was not okay, and we said, you know what, let's just have coffee. And I suppose that will never happen. But yeah, she definitely was my work wife. And, we'd share so many funny moments off and on air, like her calling me that she did not hear the alarm. Can I do the show on my own? And then I'll be like, you owe me a parking ticket. She paid my parking ticket the following day. We'd just call each other at 3 a.m. every single weekend. We'd say, hey, vuga, 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 vuga. Because, we were trying to avoid all those alarm chronicles. But yeah, she really was a friend. She really made working with her quite a breeze every weekend. I'm forever going to miss her. Okay, thank you so much, Simpiwe. One of her other colleagues who worked with Pearl on Daily Theta is also here. Melody, thank you so much for speaking to us. One thing I would like for you to talk to us about is how Pearl inspired you and how, she somewhat, and her role just on the show. I know you've had a number of interviews and this is a very difficult moment for you, but please talk to us about how
inspiring Pearl was to you?
I think initially I had not agreed to do this interview because I don't think I have the capacity to be able to go through the conversation. But what made me change my mind was because Pearl was that person who says we got to get the job done. And Simpia made a mention of her energy and how she just carried herself and her level of openness. So to me, unlike Simpia, she was my bigger sister. And in the broadcasting world, when she says 100 silent prayers, she speaks about the people that couldn't pray for themselves, that we pray for through our work, and that we actually bring on this element of energy. You know, despite whatever inking that we are facing and as individuals, she gave us an opportunity to experience a different elements through the work capacity. I think the most inspirational thing for me, for Pearl, was her spirituality. She would always shout at me, and in different ways, it could mean different things. In one part, it could mean that you need to pray because you don't know when your last day would be. But it also could mean that pray so that you can have your best days while you're still alive. And for me, Untomfuti, as we call it, she'd be like, bro, like sis, words fail me.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Melody, they are just remembering Pearl and her spirituality and some of the conversations they would have. We're joined by someone we all know as Rasta, an artist, and he has also put together his own tribute to Pearl. Thank you so much for joining us. Why have you decided to come here, and, you know, are you going to be handing this over to the family?
Condolences to the family, the fans, and the colleagues of Metro FM. As always, I do the tribute to someone who have passed on. I would come up with a painting. This is so sad to lose one of the presenters that was so vibrant. I remember like 2 weeks back, I was interviewed by her at Metro FM with my kids. They even said, she's so sweet, she's got an angelic voice. So when we learned about the passing, they were so very hurt. Even me, it's still like it's not sitting well with me. She left us here.
Thank you so much for speaking to us. There you have it. These are just some of the people who were touched by Pearl. One thing that has stood out in listening to many of the people who have spoken today is her inspiring words and how she was able to uplift people and inspire even one listener or one viewer on SABC 1 to open an NGO. She spoke to me a little bit earlier off camera. We've also heard various messages that she said on the different radio platforms on Metro FM, to be specific. And one thing that really stood out was where she spoke about, you know, mental health. And that's what one of her colleagues said, that she was very open to speak about mental health. And in the radio clip, she's heard saying that, you know, people can only benefit from you if you have taken good care of yourself. And you cannot then be a blessing to others if, you know, you're pouring from an empty cup. Now, there are many lessons that we have heard from those who have spoken today, and I think the biggest takeaway is to take care of ourselves and to chase after our dreams in the same way that Pearl did. It's back to you in studio.
Right, thank you very much to you, Mbalenhle Mthethwa, there for us at the memorial service that we're having here at SABC News for a colleague, Pearl Shongwe. And just to take off my own news anchor hat, I would like to extend my condolences to the Shongwe family. Wishing you really, words fail me at this point, but just finding out as well, a fellow Deep Proof girl. So condolences.